Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to speak first to the bill, and I do rise in opposition to Senate Bill 377 because we are yet again spending time in this chamber on legislation that we don't need and that is part of a national agenda to force culture wars on our state legislature when we can be focused instead on solving real problems. And yet again, we are claiming to protect people who will actually be harmed. Are we protecting teachers with this bill? We know that the Georgia Association of Educators opposes it. We know that many teachers came in person to speak against this bill. Something that you may not recall is that we are experiencing a crisis in the field of education right now. The Professional Association of Georgia Educators survey found that 1/3 of our teachers say that they are unlikely to remain in the field in the next 5 years. And a majority of teachers in Georgia, some 60%, said that they would not recommend teaching as a career to someone else. They cited burnout, low salaries, and increased demands as primary reasons for their low morale. How does this bill address those issues? Instead, it adds to the threat of disciplinary action with reporting requirements and pressure to self-censor to our already overburdened teachers and administrators. Vague bans create fear among educators and will lead to more people leaving the field or deciding not to go into it to begin with when we need more teachers, especially teachers of color. And threats from the state will not encourage people to neither join or stay in teaching. Of course, I agree that students should not be instructed that one race is inherently superior, but we already have laws and processes to prevent that in our classroom. The language we need to, Sure, there's language in the bill that prohibits racial stereotyping, and typically this could protect students of all races. Yet you'd only have to read the definitions to know which students are being shielded. SB 377 is a law that targets teachers, creates unnecessary burdens, and a pressure to self-censor, which can lead to students getting an incomplete view of history. I'm disturbed by this bill for many reasons, but overall, I find it to be pessimistic. It assumes that our teachers are not capable of handling difficult topics despite their training and ongoing professional development. And it assumes that our students do not have the tools nor the capacity to handle complicated, complex, and difficult discussions in an age-appropriate manner. And yet, aren't our schools an important part of where our children can learn these very tools, socio-emotional tools like empathy? Our teachers every day teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, but they're really teaching intellectual skills, critical skills, and an understanding that will give them psychological muscle. The most patriotic thing that we can do is not tell our students that we live in the greatest state or the greatest country in the world without equipping them with the abilities to make us better every year. Nothing that is being taught in our schools is about making kids feel responsible for what has happened in the past. It's about making them feel responsible for our future. We are writing America's story every day, including at this moment, and it's a story that we pass on to our children with every lesson. We should give them the tools to write a story that we can all be proud of. I can move on to my amendment now. I do really appreciate the author, the senator from the 50th, for his willingness to be open to this amendment. What this amendment does is it really only strikes 2 lines in the bill, lines 99 and 100, and those 2 lines deal specifically with the complaint resolution process, and specifically with district attorneys and the Attorney General. There's no reason that we should be codifying into law the Attorney General or the local district attorneys in educational complaint matters. We have avoided doing this in the past for many other bills related to complaint resolution, and there's already plentiful avenues in here for people to make complaints, including our parents, our students, school administrators, and it even leaves in members of this body. The matter of what we're teaching our kids really is not a criminal justice issue. So there's no provisions in this bill that would put teachers in jail or on trial for violating it. And so if no parent, teacher, or educator finds issue with what students are being taught, why would the viewpoint of the Attorney General or district attorney matter? That is all. And I'm willing to take questions if there are any.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Thank you. I'll yield the well.